You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Surviving Jack After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Surviving Jack After Show.
I love that song. I love that song. What's going on, everybody out there? My name is Monis Rose, and with me is the amazing, talented Adrian Snow.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
How's it going? Did you have a very good day watching another fun-filled episode of Surviving Jack, Episode 3, How Do You Talk to an Angel?
I did, yeah. It was a lot of fun. I really just like the kind of old-school approach to the show, and also, you know, it's the 90s, so that's my childhood right there. So yeah.
It is, but it really feels suddenly that I feel old. Don't you feel old that suddenly they're doing like wonder-year shows for us?
Yeah, I feel incredibly old whenever, you know, people make references to the 90s or people don't remember things that I talk about, and it's just like, oh, okay, I'm definitely closer to 30 than 20, so that's good to know.
Oh, come on, no, you don't look you don't look that age, all right? You don't look that age. Just closer.
Well, thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
happy I don't look my age. So.
Absolutely. So, you know, we are thrust into episode 3, and breaking down, we'll just get into it, that the big dilemma is asking that first girl to the dance. That Frankie, our main character, has to get the cojones, you know, that, you know, obviously his cojones already dropped because his voice, his Adam's apple is already there.
Fair enough.
But now he needs to really get the to say, would you like to go to the dance with me, to that special somebody?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to kind of see it in that old school approach of Frankie having to ask Heather, you know, up front in person, will you go to the dance with me? And having that kind of old 90s feel to it of like running after someone throughout high school the entire day to get to them. Whereas, you know, now we have cell phones, we could have texted, we could have called, we could have done anything. So it's interesting to see that.
So what you're saying is, would you consider now, at least nowadays, would you consider Frankie a romantic then?
Maybe I think the gesture of doing it and the way he did it is romantic. I think if we took him from that time and put him in our present time, I think he'd do it like any other high schooler would do it. Just, you know, maybe call or text or what are you up to? Or I don't know. I'm not in high school. I don't know how they talk anymore. But like, you know.
And this special somebody, you know, it's Heather. And you know, in previous episodes we saw that Frankie, he thought he could get Heather. He really did, because they shared a romantic moment, didn't they?
Yeah, they had their very first kiss. It's the first episode is about him meeting Heather. Well, not even meeting Heather, but coming back from summer break and having grown like 8 inches, and all of a sudden she has interest in him, and it eventually leads up to them kissing. So there is expectation that they are courting or dating beforehand.
I call that a tease, you know. I mean, I call that a tease. I say Heather or Frank, you know, I see Heather as a tease because they've already kissed. You know, I would think it would be a guarantee win that this wonderful woman is going to go to the dance with Frankie, wouldn't you?
Well, she's the most popular girl in school is kind of what's implied, at least in his grade. So I mean, I guess I can understand her kind of being indifferent to it. It wasn't like it was necessarily seen that they were officially dating. I think there was one other shot of them like having an outing in the second episode, but he didn't ask. And
so, Adrian,
yeah.
Then, all right, just role play with me then.
Okay.
Are you saying that, you know, say you shared a kiss, a tender moment when you were in high school with a boy, but then you went to a dance with another boy? I mean, did you tease this boy? I mean, I'm a guy. I'm on Frankie's side here.
Well, as a girl who went on a date with a guy's best friend and then went to prom with that guy, I would say I totally understand where she's coming from. It's high school. It's not, unless you've, made that announcement in high school that you're boyfriend, girlfriend. It's kind of whatever's up for grabs.
So, Frankie, his whole objective is to ask Heather to the dance, and it doesn't come easily to him, though. It doesn't. Those cojones that I keep on referencing, yeah, they're not there. He goes through several different trials. The first major one is with his dad, isn't it? And yeah, where his dad comes up to him right in the thick of things to pretty much ruin the moment. A parent ruining a moment. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, no, my parents are pretty cool. They kind of let me do my thing, but
Well, then
I've definitely
you don't have
met people.
dads. You don't have a dad like Jack, then, this military.
I do not. I have a very chill dad.
That's excellent. Excellent. Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't know. I mean, it starts out with, this episode even starts out with Frankie's dad, Jack, just pretty much squashing his dreams. He not just squashed his immediate dreams with Heather that we're talking about, but at the beginning, Frankie is trying to play the guitar, just sidetracking, and Jack just walks in and pretty much in a very mild manner, like, throws the guitar out. Like, I mean, pretty much he cuts the guitar strings. He's like,
yeah, with garden shears. It's intense.
Exactly. Says, nope, you're no Slash. You're not, I don't know what you're good at. Maybe baseball, maybe dead silence. So he's just a dream squasher this episode. And then suddenly, he squashes then with this Heather moment, and Frankie is pretty peeved, I would say, wouldn't you?
I would definitely say, yeah, that was kind of the moment where he was finally going to ask her. He'd been building it up all day, finally gets the cojones to walk up to her. And as he's doing it, his dad runs into the picture and just ruins the moment. And so, but that's kind of, I think, what Jack does in general is, and maybe not even really intentionally, but he is the best at just having the worst timing ever. So he'll come in at any moment and just ruin Frankie's life, unfortunately.
I related to Frankie, though, because when you're in high school, asking out that girl, those moments are hard to come by. I mean, those moments, I was feeling for Frankie. Like, I think her name was Stephanie Campbell. I those moments, to ask her my high school, asking her to the dance. But I felt for him. And then, so anyway, round 2, Frankie does not give up on asking Heather to the dance. So in his own mind, he does drastic measures. And pretty much, I think Frankie is a pretty good kid, but he ditches class. He pretty much ditches class, which, man, I guess that's desperate, and it doesn't really work out the way he wanted it to. With, once again, the principal pretty much catches him in the act. It's this kind of a midday teenage hootenanny that he's on. I mean, really, is it hootenanny, right? Yes. Can I throw in that word?
You can throw in hootenanny. That works.
It works. Yeah, hootenanny, a rendezvous point. Yeah.
I do have to say I was very impressed that the principal left the campus to go find the kids. When I was in high school, I definitely skipped or ditched on occasion, and my principal did not come chasing us down at whatever location we picked. I think it was usually a bowling alley, so it was very impressive that he took the time.
Alley. That was the cool spot. Oh yeah,
for the nerds, yes, that's where we went. so yeah, it was a fun episode to see him kind of just try and fail again with this poor girl, and ultimately fail.
But slowly, you know, he's getting the cojones. I mean, we see that throughout, you know, it is a steady incline. He ditches class. That's cojones to ditch. I mean, and having your friends lie for you and cover for you. I mean, pretty much he wants to swing like Tarzan into this lake, which he fails at, but he even gets the cojones to do that.
Yeah.
But then, of course, he is squashed once again with his dad, who picks him up, and he has to then just live a day in suspension with his dad at his workplace.
Yes.
And that's torture, and we can clearly see that, especially when he has to, we don't see it, but it is subtly there. He has to masturbate to one of those medical journals. His dad gives him a medical journal and says, hey, use this. Oh, yeah, and there's naked women here, but there's also naked women with brain tumors or something like that.
Yeah, it's like there's a bunch of pictures of naked women in this magazine with tumors. It's just, I mean, the one thing I will say I really love about Surviving Jack is the dynamic between the son and the father, and just the dryness with which Chris Maloney does Jack. So it's a really great foil when he, you know, in the one-liners that he delivers offhandedly to kind of knock Frankie down, or, you know, dry about his confidence or or strength, whatever. It's always nice to see just those kind of side comments that they're able to shoot out so quickly from it.
He has no empathy. He has, I mean, he has maybe a little, but he doesn't wince. He really doesn't laugh. He doesn't, I mean.
No, I mean, he has that, you know, that father empathy where he'll kind of rib you for a while, and then he'll finally at the end, when he sees that he's gotten through to you, he'll put his arm around you and tell you everything's going to be okay. But this episode wasn't really about that. I think it was more so about just really having fun with the two characters digging at each other, and also just that whole idea of each other topping the other. So I thought that was really interesting that everyone was doing that.
Absolutely. So while Frankie is with his dad in suspension after 2 major failed attempts with Heather, Jack, and I mean, pretty much Frankie meets one of Jack's patients, and it's almost a tender moment where, yes, there's a little scare, a little, you know, April Fool's, I guess, if you will, a little prank pulled, and Frankie sees this patient who looks healthy. And then at home, when they're at home together, Jack pretty much says in so many words that this patient who just looked healthy is not going to make it. He had cancer. And by the way, Jack is a physician, by the way, if for the people who are just tuning in, just want to mention that. And Jack pretty much does say the most tender moment, and I'm summarizing, saying, hey, you know, he sees patients who regret many moments and then they die, and he pretty much tells his son, just go after it and just so don't have any regrets. And boom, it hits him hard. I mean, you can't be hit harder than that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice reversal from the very first episode, because there is a moment on the couch where Jack puts his arm around Frankie, and so it's fun to see Frankie try and pull the same thing, and just it's not successful. But one nice thing about the show is at the end of pretty much each episode, it feels like that kind of moral of the story is, which is very classic 90s, and I like that they've kept up with that as well.
Yeah, and also it's classic 90s. Also, we have Justin Halpern, who did Shit My Dad Says behind this, but we also have Bill Lawrence from Scrubs, who is, Scrubs was always big on the voiceover, so that is a huge part. And even, it was a big memory of even the doctor's office scenes that we saw, very Scrubs oriented.
Yeah.
You're combining 2 big comedy geniuses here, a voiceover king and also a guy who's really great with one-liners, and combining them. So finally, after this moment, Frankie asks Heather out, running. He runs up to her.
Yeah.
Runs up to her. Very romantic. I still feel very romantic. And I even say, even if there were cell phones or there were iPhones, let's just say that, iPhones in 1991, I feel Frankie would still run up to Heather and ask her to the dance.
Well, yeah, that's the classic way to do it. That's the best way to do it. But, judging by how difficult it was for him to do it, I wouldn't put it past him to maybe shoot out a text.
Oh,
So,
Frank,
maybe.
I would slap him a little bit. I would.
I know,
No.
I know.
But anyway, Frankie, the story does not end happily though for Frankie.
No, someone else got to her. Yeah.
Someone else got to her rejected. Rejected. I think Heather pulled it off nicely though. I think that was very, respectable.
Yeah. I think she was very nice about it.
Wasn't like a LA girl, like just being a flake about it. No, she was very.
Yeah, it wasn't like she was like lame, no.
Exactly.
Or
wasn't like a mean girl being like, who the F are you? Why
Yeah.
are you asking me this?
I think she likes Frankie, but I think also, I think she's kind of playing the field and having fun. It's high school.
Oh, she's a tease because she just.
Oh, she's just playing the field. She's a player.
All right, well, Frankie, I'm on your side. You're going to get what you want, and hopefully.
Just gotta work harder.
Exactly.
Get the cojones.
Exactly. All right, so moving on, though, it's not just Frankie and Jack, but we also have Joanne, and Jack. What do we got going on with them?
Well, I was watching the episode, and it was interesting to see that there was kind of this theme of someone topping the other person or defeating the other person. And with Joanne and Jack, it starts off with Rachel and Jack kind of coming head to head because she is hard to defeat. It's impossible to punish her, so he ends up finding a way to punish her by making her do the carpool. And then it becomes about Joanne defeating Jack when she really wants to have adult friends, and she meets someone because she's going to law school. She meets some adults that want to have dinner with her, but the doctor that's the friend is a veterinarian, not a real doctor, and so Jack doesn't want to go. And ultimately becomes about Joanne attempting to defeat
Jack. A veterinarian
Jack.
is not a real doctor. Oh,
Not according to Jack.
Wow. Wow. Which, by the way, I don't study the medical industry. But I feel to become a veterinarian.
I think it takes some work. I'm
Yes.
going to say
Yes.
dealing with
Yeah,
people's pets takes work.
Because you not just need to know about people, you need to not just study the anatomy of people, you need to study the anatomy of animals.
Yes. As a bird owner, I can say that a vet who can handle my bird has to have a very special skill because those suckers are small. So you have to have some skill to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have this problem, as you were saying, with Joan and Jack now, and what happens and how is it resolved?
Well, it's just kind of, I think, more of a tit for tat where he denies her the dinner, and so she denies him because it's 1991. So when you want to record something, it's VCR, and if you don't record it that night, you probably won't get to see it again. So she denies him. I think it's kind of
Was
like
the Nova special?
Yeah, it's like
some black holes.
Some black holes or something.
Oh man, I remember. No, I missed that. No, I'm trying to lie, but I don't. This might be what I don't know. I was probably watching Chippendales Rescue
yeah,
Rangers
I mean,
or
I was definitely
Tailspin
watching
or
that.
something like that.
Yes. It's so there, but eventually it kind of comes to her realizing that she should not be so hard on him just because he doesn't want to do what she wants because the tables have turned and she's at work and he's at home. And then he concedes and it goes to the dinner with her at the very end. And so that's pretty much how they wrap it up. So it's all about everyone learning a lesson. So even Rachel learns a lesson from finding the ultimate punishment that they throw upon her. And
I feel though the winner of this whole episode, I feel George would be the winner.
George is definitely the winner.
Yes, he pretty much gets closer to Rachel. He has a huge crush on Rachel. He is very direct on the nose about it.
Yes.
In almost a very creepy way, but very creepy way. But and even when when he's carpooling with Rachel carpools him, so they're closer together, and he makes her drop him off even closer to class. And then finally, when Rachel thinks she has the upper hand on George and says, kind of makes people believe that they were together, and then she dumps him, or, you know, and just like walks off, of how could you kind of moment, George kind of just brushes it off his shoulder, being like, yeah, well,
She gives him some player status. That's what she does. She kind of makes
Yeah.
it sound like he, you know, didn't call her, and how dare he. And that's a really, I think in high school land, that's a really sweet thing to do to a nerdy guy, if you're a very popular girl, is to give him player status. Not necessarily make everyone believe that you're dating him, but to believe that you did, and he didn't return your calls.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, what do you think, you know, one of my, though, issues, and brought up, so, you know, the Surviving Jack, it really, at the beginning, it really sets the tone that this is 1991. Like, this is 1991.
Okay.
Pee Wee Herman got caught, you know, and it gives a little timeline. But, you know, the music is 90s, and you pointed out, but it's not 1991 music. And, you know, it's like, okay, we have the hair, and we have all the hair product in the hair, have the bright colors, we have the big
Heat-sensitive shirts.
Exactly. But the music is all over the place. I mean, 1991, and when we have some kind of early hip-hop, which is not really, you know, Snoop Dogg yet, because that's like 93, 94 era,
Yeah.
you know, or Onyx or anything like that. But, I mean, it's all over the place. So I feel, what do you think on that? I feel if they're really setting the tone that this is 1991, then have some music from 1991.
Was 1991 a good year for music? No, I'm joking. Well, no, I think they're kind of playing with the fact that it is kind of that Wonder Years flashback sense. So I think in the Wonder Years, they were able to get away with playing music that wasn't necessarily from the year they were in. And I think because it's him reflecting on his childhood, they just kind of throw in music from the 90s. Like, I don't necessarily remember when certain songs came out what year, but I know that it's a 90s song. And so I think maybe that's how the writers are trying to get away with it. So it's like, well, we're just going to play this music, you know, or the producers, to kind of represent the memory of the 90s.
Gotcha.
That's my theory.
Gotcha. All right. Well, what do you think we have in store for Frankie?
I think Frankie will probably get another date with Heather. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think it'll also end up being destroyed by Jack. That's kind of where I see him going, and maybe a little bit more with him with the baseball, because he did make the varsity team, and just kind of more of that dynamic of him becoming more popular. So from that, we'll see.
And I really think that guitar is coming back. It is not dead. We saw Joanne playing it.
We did.
So I feel, I'm feeling that Frankie, Jack, maybe even some Joanne are going to be starting a band pretty soon. They're getting the band back together. I think we're going to be seeing a musically talented family coming up.
I really hope it doesn't turn into the Partridge Family. That would be a little weird, but it's a possibility. It's a possibility it could.
Excellent, excellent. Well, anyway, for all of the fans of Surviving Jack out there, Adrian, where can all of our fans catch you and see you and contact and all that,
yeah.
and all the plugs you want to give?
I will plug. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow, ADRIAN.
Excellent. And you can catch me, Monis Rose, on Twitter at Rest Fiction. That stands for restaurantfiction.com. Thank you very much, Adrian Snow.
Yeah. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Monis Rose. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.